Right then, welcome back to player ratings and back to the channel. We talked today a little bit about how it all lined up yesterday, and go through every single player and give you my thoughts on how the game shook out. Go through the stats, go through the data, and see just how everybody actually did, and give them a rating out of 10 for it. So, start as we always do with the goalkeeper. I thought it was a straight 5 out of 10 kind of game. Made 0 saves in a penalty shootout. He's back to the low pass completion. And actually, it was very frustrating at times. The crowd seeing its arse with Onana quite a lot yesterday because he didn't seem to want to rush it up. Didn't seem to want to. It just seemed really weird in terms of how he was trying to play out. Went long quite a few times, 22 times, only 7 of which were successful. That was the majority of the times that he lost. In fact, that was all of the times that he lost the ball, which he's not done for the last few weeks. Doesn't fill everyone with confidence at the moment. Did make a decent save at one point, but didn't really do anything in the penalty shootout. I know it's hard for goalkeepers, but you've got to expect him to at least look like he can do something in there. Frustratingly quiet night. Could have been a hero. Wasn't. Let's talk about defenders. Matthijs de Ligt. I'm giving him an 8 out of 10. I thought he was our best defender. 17 clearances is an absolute madness, by the way. 9 block shots, 6 tackled, 1 last man tackle. He had 8 long balls, 5 of which were accurate. 42 out of 50 passes, 84%. Won 7 out of 12 of his duels. He is the reason United weren't 2 down in normal time. The number of clearances that he made tell a story of a defender that's constantly bailing out his teammates. But the stats alone don't tell you the impetus or the timing of those tackles. And it was the impetus and the timing of those tackles. A big smash, ball and all, old school kind of tackle was very much needed at some of the times that he played them. Times when Fulham were on the counter, smash someone on the touchline. The one inside the box could have, been given a penalty, but he's come in. Lindelof's dilly-dallying with just jockeying. He's come in, took the ball, took the man, just an absolutely blockbuster tackle. Got himself injured in the process of doing it, but it's one of those. His passing was quite progressive. He was sending it forward as often as he can, but he was covering up for his teammates. Euro especially. Positionally, Lenny had a bit of a poor game, actually. And it was de Ligt that was bailing him out. Probably one of his best performances. An absolute warrior in defence yesterday. So I think he might be my man of the match on the ratings. Harry Maguire, 6.5 out of 10. 10 clearances, 8 block shots, 1 tackle. 31 out of 33 passes, which is 94%. Only 4 of those were progressive passes. 6 out of 9 of his duels won, which is good. But the slowing down of play, again, like Onana, the Stretford end just getting on his case when he's seemingly slowing the ball down and all the rest of that sort of stuff. It was a pretty safe but uninspiring game from Maguire. Pretty solid in his aerial duels, clean in possession, didn't take any risks with the ball, probably slowed it down just a little bit. Where he struggled was his position in the transition, and while de Ligt was sweeping up, covering all those wide spaces, Maguire again looked stiff in recovery when United lost the ball and quite often allowed Fulham to play through the lines too easily. He's experienced, he's big, he's strong, but there's just an absolute lack of leadership there from him. United's defence needs to start controlling games. That's one of the things that you do with a back three instead of reacting to it. And even though Maguire will come off the pitch thinking he played well within himself, certainly wasn't a disaster class. It wasn't a captain's performance from him either. So, yeah, I think 6.5. The display that looked kind of decent on paper, but it didn't really have any presence. Lenny Euro, I'm going to say 5.5. 1 clearance, 1 block shot, no tackles, 23 out of 28 passes, only 1 out of 3 of his duels won. I don't know if I would say he looked out of his depth, but it was a game that tested him, I think would be fair to say. He was caught ball watching a few times, allowed runners to get on the blind side of him. That's experience. That's, just something that's got to come with a number of games, and certainly a number of games in a new league will help as well. Passing-wise wasn't bad, but he didn't attempt anything too risky or too progressive. And defensively, I just don't think he was aggressive enough. Only one clearance all game. He was very, very passive and arguably United's weakness in defence. But he's a young player, and these games are learning experiences. His performance showed why the likes of De Ligt had to carry United's back line. Maybe nervous, if anything, if I could throw a word at it. So yeah, 5.5 out of 10. Into the midfield then. Dalot, one of his better games, I would say. I'm going to say 7 for Dalot. He had 11 clearances, 8 block shots, 3 tackles, 3 key passes, 8 crosses, only one of which was accurate, which was it the first one? I think it might have been the first one. And actually, Hojlund managed to get on the end of that and not direct it goalward. He worked hard and he was involved heavily. The attacking output was probably frustrating, but obviously 8 crosses and only 1 finding a teammate is not good enough. Defensive work rate was solid though, and his passing probably showed someone that was trying to force it rather than someone that was in control. He did score his penalty, which you sort of expected, I thought. Lindelof was the one where I was like, oh, he looks nervous. But, he didn't really have a mega positive impact on the game. So this system requires wing-backs to be like a real force in the game, and he just wasn't. So I'm going to say 7 out of 10 for him. And also a 7 out of 10 for Mazraoui, who I just think he's a fantastic footballer. 4 attempted dribbles, 3 of which were successful. Don't expect that from him in the slightest. Defensively, 8 clearances, 6 block shots, 2 tackles, 21 out of 30 passes, which is low for him. But he was dynamic on the ball and he was trying to make things happen. He was one of the few people that looked like they were going to try and get a goal or help us get a goal. And quite often found himself as the only attacking outlet, being a wing back. It's kind of what happens. His final ball probably let him down just a little bit. His crossing was non-existent, but it was a pretty positive performance, especially from a defensive point of view. And there's someone that you can just trust on the ball. I don't know why he didn't take a penalty, to be honest, because I'd have absolutely trusted him to score one. Bruno Fernandes, he's a 7 out of 10 as well. 3 shots, 2 on target, obviously the 1 goal, 69% pass accuracy, which is 48 out of 70, which is not great, but there was 4 key passes in that, 6 clearances, 3 block shots, did lose possession 29 times. There were moments of magic, but there was also moments of wastefulness as well. The 4 key passes show what he's trying to do creatively, but he also forces it when it's not on. His role in the side is unclear. It feels like he's being played back because he's got the energy and the tempo to sit alongside someone like Ugarte in midfield. But what's the game here? What are we trying to do here? Are you trying to be a box-to-box Ander Herrera style midfielder? I don't fully understand what it is that we're trying to achieve with him while he's on the pitch. It doesn't really add up. Is he going to go back to being a number 10 if we get another Ugarte clone to go alongside him? What are we trying to do? Alongside him, Ugarte, I'm going to say 6 out of 10 for Ugarte. Only attempted 16 passes, and I don't know if anybody else noticed this. While United were trying to play out, we'd pushed Ugarte really, really high up the pitch. That was weird, wasn't it? Did anyone else think that was a bit strange? 3 clearances, 2 block shots, just wasn't the aggressive kind of force that he's been in recent games at all, actually. So a little bit quiet from him. I definitely want to see more. I definitely know there's more from him. But yeah, it just wasn't his game. A little bit further up the pitch, Christian Eriksen. I'm going to say 7 out of 10 for Christian Eriksen. It was 86% pass accuracy with 2 key passes. There were only 36 touches though, which is low, and there was no tackles that came out of it. what he gets on the ball and does is very, very intelligent, and he's one of the few that's got the ability to do stuff and to control the tempo of games. But he didn't get on the ball enough. Maybe United were poor in possession overall, because we were. He's not going to have the physicality to be able to cut about the pitch and do stuff. I think it was the right call going with Bruno and Agati in behind him. But if you're going to do that, you kind of have to let Bruno know, listen, you chill out with the heroic balls going forward and just find Eriksen. So when you've got Agati not getting on the ball at all, you've got Bruno who just wants to smash it forward at any opportunity. Having Christian Eriksen in the team when you want to settle it and allow that football brain that he's got to sort of dictate stuff could work, but didn't work. That's the frustration, I think. That is the frustration with this, is that it makes sense what you want to do, but the execution of it didn't really work. Joshua Zirkzee. I'm torn on him here because at times I really liked what he did. I thought there was some genuine positivity to the way he played the game. But when you look at what he actually did, he was another one that lost possession 29 times, which is not good enough. He only wins 2 out of 9 aerial duels, only wins 5 out of 23 aerial duels. If he could actually battle in midfield, he'd be the most influential on the pitch. He only made 28 passes, but he lost the ball 29 times. What score do I give him here? I'm going to say 5, because it was middling. He wasn't good. He wasn't bad. Obviously, he missed his penalty at the end. I think he only got the 1 shot off, 1 dribble out of 6 attempted. You know, you can probably put the highlights reel together of his game yesterday where there were some real nice touches and turns and rolls and stuff like that. But it does not tell a full picture of him. He's not putting in anywhere near enough of an output to do anything. And then Rasmus Hojlund. Where do you even start with him? It's a free. It's a free. It's a free. It's a free. It's a complete non-entity of performances. 2 dribble attempts, non-successful. 1 shot, wasn't successful. 2 passes in 68 minutes of play. Okay, well, did he get involved in any duels? Yep. 2 on the ground, didn't win any of them. 3 in the air, won 1 of them. How'd you lose possession 5 times and only complete fucking 2 passes? It's horrific. It's abjectly not good enough. And anyone who tells you that this is Rasmus hate, anybody who tells you that this is picking on him, anybody that tells you that this is going overboard is incorrect. All I'm doing to you is reading out what happened in the game. And I'm adding that I don't think that that's good enough. I'm sorry, if you think that that is good enough, I can't talk to you, because it's clearly not good enough. And when you compare that to the child that we brought on, you know, let's have a look. What did Cheeto do in the time that he came on the pitch? 2 dribbles attempted, which is the same as Hojlund. He completed 2 of them. He created 3 big chances for himself, pretty much, right? He got 1 of them on target. He had 5 passes attempted, 4 of them were accurate. So in 52 minutes on the pitch, compared to the 68 that Hojlund was on, he had twice as many passes. He had twice as many touches. He had 6 ground duels versus the 2 that Hojlund was involved in. He won 3 of them. He had 2 in the air and he won 1 of them. He only lost possession 7 times, but was involved so much more. So much more. It's just... It's unfathomable how you can consider having a rational conversation about the impact that Rasmus Hojlund is having and think it's hate. You're a child if that's what you're thinking. So Cheeto's performance, again, don't think he lit the world up. It's a 6. But it was better than Rasmus Hojlund. It was. Garnacho, he came on with probably about an hour or so gone. Again, another selfish performance. 5 crosses, 0 accurate. Wasn't impactful enough in the duels. Lost possession quite a bit. Comes on and has 4 shots. Creates nothing for anybody else. It's just There was opportunities for him to slide people in and he just chose not to. Decision making's horrific. 5. Ayden Heaven came on late, played in injury time. Him, Casemiro, Lindelof. I mean, I guess Lindelof probably deserves a little bit more of a rating, doesn't he? I thought Lindelof was unspectacular and solid in the actual game. He misses the penalty, which is going to mark him down for sure. So I'm going to say 6 actually for Lindelof. He was fine. He didn't look like a drama in the game, but he didn't look confident for his penalty. Casemiro came on, did some decent stuff, did some wild stuff at the same time. Yeah. Manager, 4. The system isn't not working. There's no midfield control. There's no attacking intent. There's no attacking identity. He needs to bring that in quickly. You can keep your formation. I don't give a shit about the formation. Formation's a minor detail as far as I'm concerned. I want to see people running ahead of the ball. I want to see United try and go one touch. We are far too deliberate in our touches, and it's slowing everything down, and the speed is what has to come in if we're going to be successful, in my opinion. Anyway, let us know your thoughts on those ratings and how the game went. I'll see you in the next one. Laters.
Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, 5-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.